Good morning, everybody. Hello. Some cameras are on. Julie's here. I see Charlene, Victoria. Michelle has a cute little picture of her baby. And some of y'all are shy this morning. It is a-okay. We are going to have some fun, whether your cameras are on or not. Coach Glitter's here. Look how festive your background is. I should be there doing this video. Look at my sad plants. This is my sad greenery, guys. This is my backdrop for y'all. I would love to do in my backyard, but it's like 30 degrees out there, so we're not going to do that today. Looks like everybody's starting to roll in. So I have two monitors going. So if you see me looking over here, I'm not like looking at the birds in the background. I have just some notes. I have a lot of important things I want to cover, and I don't want to leave anything out today. So I want to make sure that you guys are getting all the good info that I have in store today. Worked really hard on this presentation. I'm excited to deliver it. But before we get started, if you haven't already muted yourself, it looks like most of you are muted. Just double check, make sure you're muted there. And also find the chat box. So there is a little bubble somewhere with the chat box. So look around on your phone. Don't worry if you push a weird button. I can probably fix whatever happens on this end too. But find the chat box. I want to know where everybody is from today. So I know some of you are on my Instagram and Facebook and maybe friends of friends. So I'd love to know where you guys are from. I know I got a lot of my clients here, Modesto. Just really interested as to where everyone's coming from. So that would be awesome. So if you could type that in, I would love to see. So we've got Ashley from Roseville, Escalon, Tracy, Turlock, my good old hometown of the Bulldogs, Salida. So lots of Californians. I love it. I think there was one of my gals from Alabama is on here. Awesome. So if you're just joining in, I'd love to know where you're from. Type in the chat box and let us know. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're probably going to have some folks rolling in, and I'm going to share my screen here with you so we can jump right into all the goodies. Now, if you have to pop off by any, at any time, feel free. I am going to, I am going to send out this recording, so you will be good to go as far as getting the recording once it's done. If you want to watch it again at some point, you are going to be good to go there because I'm going to be sending that out. Oops. Let's go here. Okay. Let me know. Can you see me? Can you guys see this screen? Give me a thumbs up. I see Victoria. Can you see this? This is good. Okay. Perfect. So I am going to minimize my screen here real quick. Okay, so here I am eating my jet puffed marshmallows because marshmallows are life. But we're going to talk today about the 10 things to stop doing when you're trying to lose weight. Now, I hate saying lose weight, but I feel like that's a kind of a coined term that most women can relate to. What my goal is to help you lose body fat, right? So losing weight could be losing muscle. We don't want to do that. We want to keep that lean, sexy muscle. I want to help you lose body fat or keep I want to keep your lean, sexy muscle on. So can you guys see the full screen? It's cutting off some of the slide, but we can see the slide. Can you guys see it? Okay, Victoria says she can see it. Okay, so next, in the chat box, I want to know, are you on a diet right now? Let me know. Put it in the chat box. If you're not, if you are on a diet, I want to know what diet you're on. Post it in there. No shame in your diet game. If you don't want to post it in the public chat box, send it to me privately. There's a little pull down. You can put it in there. If you're not on a diet, what is the last diet that you tried? Let me know. I'm going to open that up. I want to see what we have here. We've got no's, lots of no's, not reallys. Yes. Okay. 1,200 calorie diet, ditch deprivation, which is a lot of my gals, keto, count macros, paleo-ish. I use that word a lot, Anna. I love it. Minimal carbs. Let's see what else we got here. Tracking macros, kind of ignoring it. I totally get that. You're like, yeah, this is not going to count today. All right. So we do have some of y'all on diets right now. Okay, good to know. So next up, I love this slide. I saw this this little meme here, this meme, as Coach Glitter calls them. Um, when you've been on a low carb diet for 5 years and realize it's only been 5 minutes, right? I feel like when I started the keto, I tried keto for a little bit. I like to try diets so that way I can have some like anecdotal experience with it. I could give my clients feedback. So I put myself through a lot of weird diets, the cabbage soup diet, the paleo diet, the keto diet, all the diets. So typically, when you can't have something, your brain automatically wants that thing. So it's totally normal. And after 5 minutes on a diet, this is what happens, and this is how you feel. All right, next up, he's kind of cute. Okay, so this topic is important because I put together 10 things that I really, really want you to take home as far as a baseline, right? This is the foundation of all the other things. So when you're trying to nitpick a diet or discover what your unique dieting strategy is, these baseline things should be set in stone for anyone across the board, no matter what diet you do. I also want you guys to, maybe quit repeating old habits. If you're like, oh, I tried this diet, it doesn't work. I tried that, it doesn't work. Get faster results. Obviously, I know a lot of us are like, why haven't I lost 10 pounds yet? It's been a week, right? Stop searching for the next fad diet, create balance, and really, really, really trying to drive home avoiding like the all or nothing approaches. Well, I can only eat fat. I can only do low carb, really these diet dogmas that are set in place by most standard diets that are on the market. So that is what I'm hoping we can get through today. Let's see. All right. So I've been working with women since 2007. I started Venus. Some of you know me from the pole dancing studio days. I've been competing since 2011. I like to call myself a professional dieter because to get to these freakishly low levels of body fat, you have to know a thing or two about manipulating your food. A lot of people are like, oh, you must just, work out 10 hours a day. And while there's a lot that goes into doing that, and training for a physique competition, 90% of it comes down to what I am or am not eating. So I've tried every diet out there. I've hated almost every diet. Not gonna lie, when I'm getting to extreme levels of low body fat like that, it is suffer mode for probably about 4 to 6 weeks prior to a show. But it wasn't always the case for me. So eating healthy wasn't something I was just like, oh, this is easy. I'm just gonna like roll into this diet and not be a problem. I have done, every diet known to man, and I have hated almost every diet. But I have definitely overcome my own health battles. For those of you that don't know me, I'm not going to spend too much time here. Most of you are already clients, but I have overcome my own, health hurdles and negative, diet patterns and habits as well. So just a couple slides on this. I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but obviously on the left, in the hospital, very unhealthy. I was eating, this is like, I guess if you will, my before, it was over 200 pounds. I always tell this story in my webinars about how every day after school, we would go through the McDonald's drive-through and I would order a double quarter pounder with cheese, extra greasy. That was a thing. The guy I was dating at the time had a 77 Chevelle. We'd roll through McDonald's and it would be like, supersize me a double quarter pounder. And he would tell them, we want the extra greasy patties. We don't want the dry ones. Okay. So that's how I was eating almost every day after high school. My parents, I grew up on Portuguese sweetbread and cheese. My dad still smokes a pack of cigarettes and holds a Pepsi in one hand every day. That was just how we ate. Corn dogs, Hamburger Helper was like, if I was eating healthy, like, oh, we're going to eat healthy tonight. We're having Hamburger Helper. So that was my diet. I didn't really eat vegetables. That wasn't something we ate in our family. And if I did any diet, it was literally for like a couple weeks and I would go right off of it because it was so different than what I was used to eating that my taste buds were like, what is this? This is healthy. I can't eat this. It's flavorless and awful. On the right, that was the summer. And this is where I'm at now most of the time, eating mindfully. I eat whole foods 80 to 90% of the time. And that's because I don't like how I feel when I eat how I used to eat. And that's really another point I want to drive home. I have some kind of sanity foods daily. Usually it comes in some form of marshmallows or cookies or chocolate or ice cream or something of that nature that I have every single day, because it makes me feel like, oh, okay, I could still have, a great looking body in a bikini and not feel like I'm doing my competition diet. That's for a whole nother presentation. But just walking around feeling like I look lean and athletic and confident and also feeling really good. And this has all come from just years of doing lots of crazy things and bouncing back and forth between diets. On the left, I love this picture. I hated it at the time, but this was actually around Christmas time. I will never forget. We were making cookies. If you look at the table there, we've got like some cookie dough right here, Doritos. Right here is our good old fashioned Portuguese sweetbread. And there's the picture's cut off, but there's a cup of Pepsi. There's a 2-liter of Pepsi. So this is just like how I ate all the time. We just ate like this all the time. I hated healthy food. Diets were just like a Band-Aid, like, oh, I'm going to try this for a few days, but I wasn't really addressing the underlying things that needed to be tackled for me to be successful. I was not afraid of carbs in this picture, evidently so. But when I would go into diets, I was definitely terrified of carbs. Oh my God, carbs are going to make me fat. And, like most folks, around December, the marketing for diet stuff becomes really prevalent. And it was like, okay, what's the next new thing I'm going to do? What's this new fad, raspberry ketones, whatever the new thing is. I was definitely trying it. And I was always really stuck on scale numbers, like, oh gosh, how much do I weigh? What is that whole thing looking like? And, who can relate to, getting on the scale, and if it says something you don't like your day is fucking ruined, right? Oh, sorry, this is not a G show, rated PG, rated PG-13. Who could relate to that, right? Like, you get on the scale, doesn't say what you want, and then you're like, screw it, this isn't working, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. Or you just have like a shitty day and you take it out on like your dog or something, I don't know. And then on the other side, this was this summer, no food really is off limits. Honestly, if I'm not in prep, prep is an exclusive, a completely different conversation. Just maintaining, athletic levels of body fat, no food is off limit for me, with an asterisk. I choose not to eat a lot of things because I don't like the way it makes me feel. We'll discuss that in another slide. But I'm always, rotating my fat loss goals. So what that means is I'm not constantly dieting. I go into waves, right? And my clients who work with me on ditch deprivation, they know I'm going to tell you, like, right now, I know I have some folks that are really struggling with me because they're so used to wanting to be in a diet all the time. And I'm telling them, we're not in a diet right now. We're regrooming your metabolism. We're refeeding you a little bit. We're staying at maintenance. So that way your metabolism doesn't start to tank and start to refuse to budge. And we need to do that periodically. So it's goal cycling. You're just goal cycling your fat loss. And that's really what I do. I use photos for progress, and also measurements and the way my clothes fit, and also how I'm feeling is a big predictor of what my diet is forecasting for how the outcome is, which is how I feel. Okay, enough about me. Today, the details on the workshop, I'm hoping that this is going to be, interactive and fun. Ask questions. The very, very first slide in this is super, super important. So get your fingers ready to screenshot it. I want you to save that and use it. So that's coming. For change to take place, we have to start with a foundation. And that's why I put these little hands with the bricks, right? Like laying these bricks. If you build a house on a very unstable, foundation, it's going to fall apart and crumble. And that's, fat loss is no different. If you're just trying to like throw a new diet into your life without addressing these kind of 10 foundations, it's not going to stick. So I really want to drive home the importance of setting down, a foundation. So that way your diet and your fat loss doesn't come to a crumble before it really has even started. And then lastly, if you stick around to the end, if you're interested in ditch deprivation, going to give you info on that. There's no hard and fast like sales pitch. It is what it is. If you're interested, I will give you all the details on that. And then you can find out how to work with one of us coaches at the very end. Okay, nextly, okay, so we're going to talk about some old dieting myths. And here's where I want the shift to happen today. carbs are not the, carbs are not the devil. We're going to talk about, our focus on needing to lose XYZ amount of pounds and like how that, like attaching to that is making you kind of crazy, right? Like, oh, I just need to lose this last 5 pounds. We're going to ditch the myth of needing a ton of exercise, right? And that you have to eat 100% clean. We're going to cover that as well. The scale is only one measure of progress, and we're going to talk about some other ways that you can gauge your progress when you're starting a new diet. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Cheers. All right, in the chat box today, let me know. I'm very curious. Let me know 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 why you're here today. You heard about dish deprivation. Maybe you want to learn more. 2, you've dieted but usually give up. Some simple tips. You just want some simple tips to maybe get back on the wagon. Number 3, you're dieting or you have dieted, but you're just not getting the results. Number 4, you're dieting, but can always use a few more tips. Or number 5, you're absolutely totally bored, have nothing else to do today, and you just want to hear me babble for an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, let's see. We've got number 4s, successfully dieting, but could use some tips. 1s and 3s. Who's number 5? Amanda? Coach Glitter, of course you would say you're bored, you have nothing else to do today. Let's see, maybe 2. Okay, we've got some people who are maybe interested in ditch. That's awesome. Number 4. So across the board, right? I don't know who Yeagley is, but I love you. I'll appreciate your honesty and saying you're bored and you have nothing to do. That's awesome. Okay, and Jen says, I want to do ditch too. Okay, awesome. So good to know. All right. So before we dive into the meat and potatoes here of the workshop, I want you to understand 3 really important things. All diets work. And I know that that's, you hear sometimes in social media or on the internet, it's like diets don't work. When you're in a calorie deficit, your diet's going to work. So that means no matter which diet you choose, if you are eating less calories than you need to maintain your current body, you will lose body fat. But the question is what can you realistically stick to? And this is what I keep trying to drive home. And I get really excited when I get a lot of ears on a workshop or a webinar, because I will always probably have this in the workshop at some point. I don't care what diet you do, but realistically, what can you stick to and what's going to work for your lifestyle? Number 2, the second one, we always think that we're eating, well, yeah, I ate a little bite, a little, this or that. We're usually eating more than we think. Portion sizes are huge at restaurants. And if we aren't used to really understanding what something weighs and tracking it in some capacity, we're generally eating much more than we think. And then the third one, this is another super important one, is we usually burn less calories than we think. We're like, oh, this workout was great. My Fitbit or my watch says I burned 300. A lot of times these are off, and they're generally not calculating things like how old you are, metabolism, how active you really are through the day, and a lot of other things. And also, girl, did you really work that hard? Okay, so a lot of times we're like, oh yeah, this is a tough workout, but are you working to your fullest capacity? So super important things when you are considering a diet or into fat loss, and or if things aren't actually moving in the direction that you want them to for your fat loss. Okay, let's get to the nitty gritty. All right, how to avoid dieting pitfalls and lose fat starting today. Wow, that sounds like a really, really cheesy infomercial. But in all honesty, these are 10 great baseline foundations for you to stop doing. And then I'm also going to give you what to start doing, or like at least start planting the seed, so that way you can start thinking, forward thinking on how to maybe change some habits, etc. And I don't want you to think like, I could already hear some of you who are like my advanced dieters who are just gonna be like, snore fest. Okay, this is boring. This is super like not a big deal. Don't shrug them off, because I'm telling you, when I am getting to freakishly low levels of body fat on stage or my competitors, these things are all in place and have been in place for quite some time as just like a knee-jerk reaction. It's just like part of their lifestyle. It's just part of what they're doing. And as simple as they are in theory, they are actually very impactful for the overall long-term longevity of fat loss. Okay. I think this next photo, she may be on this. I can't see everybody in the chat in the room right now, but this is one of my favorite humans, Miss Yvette, who works with us at the studio. She's also does Ditch, but she's undergone an immense transformation. I love her very dearly. She's an awesome human. But I just like to throw a quote in here for you to chew on for a minute. Breaking up with bad habits is really, really hard to do. And so I like to throw this in here, and I heard this and it just like stuck. It's like nothing changes if nothing changes. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting, keep getting the same results. If you want to change, you have to make some changes. And so some of these things in the slides, even if you just do 2 of them and you just say like, this is the new thing I'm doing, you'd be surprised at the domino effect and the impact they're going to have over time. It's very comfortable to stay stagnant when there's, you know, no mental friction, right? Okay, so this is the one I want you to screenshot. And this is by no means an inclusive list of things that you, I just put here, thing 1 that you need to stop doing. Stop repeating old food habits, screenshot this. These are easy freaking swap outs that you can make with your the current foods that you're eating. And it's not going to be pleasant at first sometimes, but as your taste buds adjust, you will then go back to your original thing and be like, how the hell did I eat this, right? Like if I tried to eat an extra greasy quarter pounder with cheese, a supersized fry, and a supersized Coke, I would probably be on the toilet for an hour, right? So your body gets used to always feeling like shit, or you're just like, this is just how I feel, and you're not used to it until you start swapping out for other things. So I'd love to know, is there somebody who would love to just put in the chat box, like, what are the things, are there things in here that you're already doing? Tell me, I would love to know. You know, for example, swapping out things like milk for nut milks. You know, I was going to put almond milk, but there is an array of milks out there. Almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk, whatever. Something that is lower in fat, lower in calories, and just overall better for your health in general. Soda for diet soda. Sugar that you're putting in like coffee or whatever for sugar substitutes. If you love to bake, using you know, sugar substitutes for baking to cut out some of the sugar and the extra carbohydrates that are going to like spike insulin and things. Sugar-free syrups, instead of using butter substitutes. You know, sugary cereals. If you're getting up and you have been in a fasted state, right? So you sleep, hopefully, which we're going to cover in another slide, you know, for at least 6 hours, maybe more, and you wake up, you roll out of bed, your body has not had anything all night, obviously, because you've been sleeping, and you just go dumping a bunch of sugar in your body. That is the worst thing to do to store on and pack on body fat. Your body's already like primed and ready to go. And like, what am I going to do with this food? What am I going to do with it? Oh, great. Let's just dump it right into some body fat. That's a non-sciencey way to explain it. You know, if you're a snacker, like I hear this so often, and I want to thank you guys who submitted questions early on. Who, you know, I'm not going to get to all of them today, but a lot of these slides will cover some of them. You know, it's like, I love to snack all day. Well, that's probably going to cause a problem if you're trying to lose body fat. So, you know, try swapping out some of these snacks. Alcohol is a huge one. I work with clients in ditch deprivation, you know, and nutrition for well over a year, and they're not willing to cut out their nightly alcohol. That adds up. That is not just in a caloric standpoint, but it's also a gateway drug for snacking, along with an herbal plant that some of us partake in sometimes at night that gives us the munchies. But alcohol will, you know, will add up. And also your body doesn't know what alcohol is. It doesn't metabolize it like it does other foods. So a lot of it gets stored as fat, even though alcohol has no fat generally. Loaded coffee drinks, your usual Starbucks for frappuccinos and all those things, you know, swapping out the milks and sugars for some of these substitutes. Donuts, sorry, there is no substitute for donuts. Just eat a donut, okay? And then candy bars for protein bars. Some people are like, yeah, but protein bars are just as much calories as a candy bar. Well, Yes, but you're also forgetting that it has protein in it, which is also going to help, you know, not give you that jacked up insulin spike that a candy bar is. It's going to slow down the absorption. You're not going to store as much body fat as you would just shoveling, you know, Snickers bars in your face. Okay, so these simple swap outs could save you hundreds of calories over time. If you just took this slide and you eat all these things on the left and you said, all right, starting today, I'm gonna start experimenting. I'm gonna start switching out to these things instead. Over the course of a year, I would guarantee, like the Men's Warehouse, that there would be some incredible changes, not only in the way that you feel, but the way that you look, the way that your clothes fit, even if you never touched a weight, never did a minute of cardio. Making these small, subtle changes would cut so many calories out of your lifestyle, would make a huge difference. All right, so I wanted to spend a lot of time on that. Okay, next up, where is my gallon crew? Where's my water jug crew? Not enough of this magic juice. You guys know I had to infuse some of my personality in here, so use your imagination. All right, water. Where my dehydrated bitches at? Okay, your body is about 60%. You know, the studies are showing different numbers. This was just one that I felt was a good baseline as far as what your body is made out of is 60% water. Some are showing that it's more. Okay, so it makes sense that you need to bring some of that back into your body for not drinking enough for a lot of things. Do you want to look younger? Who wants to look younger? Put it in the chat box. It's kind of like the fucking fountain of youth, okay? It's not going to erase your wrinkles and your fine lines, but it is going to bring some hydration to your skin, give you a natural glow. I know I get often in DMs on Instagram and like on my videos and stuff, they're like, oh my God, your skin is flawless. Yes, I do get Botox up here, but I'm like, you guys, if you saw the facial products I use, like that's not my jam. I suck at that. Maybe someone who's on here who's better at that can help me out. But literally, religiously, I drink a gallon of water a day, and that is going to keep me, you know, energized, flushing bloat. That is another thing. A huge myth I hear is like, drinking all this water is making me bloated. I'm going to stop. No, do not do that. Okay. It's going to help you flush that bloat. At point of, yes, your stomach fill is going to increase because you're adding liquid into your stomach, but it's not going to make you bloat. It's going to indeed do the opposite effect. If you are not pooping daily, you need to be pooping daily. Water is going to also assist in that. And then it's going to keep you fuller longer. So if you're finding that, you know, you're always hungry and you're always snackish, sometimes it's your body's way of saying like, hey, bitch, I'm thirsty, but you keep putting some salty shit in me. And then that's what happens. So you drink more water is also going to help with keeping you feeling fuller longer. All right. So drinking your body weight in ounces is a general rule of thumb, right? Like I will tell clients like in their check-ins, when we do ditch deprivation, it's like, are you drinking a gallon of water a day? Just have it as a baseline. You know, as a standard overall like target to hit. However, if you can at least get your body weight in ounces. So for example, I'm 150 pounds. I'm going to drink 150 ounces of water. That's just a simple way to figure it out. If you're like, I don't know, I don't want to carry a gallon. It is annoying, you know, unless you work at a gym like I do and you can carry it around. But otherwise, just really striving to get that in. Another one is making sure that you're peeing clear. If you're peeing and it's like chicken noodle soup, there's a problem. Okay, we need to increase that H2O. All right, next one. Look at this lady. She's like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Where are my night owls? Are you guys night owls? I want to know where you are. Tell me in the chat box. I'm a night owl. Put it in the chat box. This is sleep. If you are burning the candle at both ends, this is like one of the most, I'm going to say this about every slide, one of the most highly underrated fat loss tools. If you asked me, what fat burner should I take? Or, you know, should I take a fat burner or should I take something to help me sleep? I would say take something to help you sleep well over the fat burner. Fat burners, most fat burners are, you know, are trash and they just make you pee and poop more. And that's water weight and poop weight that you're losing for the most part. So I would say get your Z's. All right. It's going to affect these hormones, which are the ones that generally are going to affect your fat loss, whether you, store fat, or you're able to just process fat normally and burn fat, like insulin, your cortisol, and a lot of your metabolic functions. If you don't sleep much and you notice like you're tired all the time and you're constantly having to drink this other magic juice, which is coffee, all day, it's this vicious cycle that keeps repeating. No sleep, drink pot of coffee, then you're wired, you're a night owl, you're up until God knows what time in the morning, and then you get 4 hours of sleep, and then you're just repeating this, and it just keeps going, And I see this often in my high anxiety people who are just like want to go and do things all the time and just stay up, and they're just trying to do all the things. And a lot of times that presents itself in belly fat, midsection fat. So, and also, having low energy is going to make you do things like have irrational food decisions, right? You get hangry, and your body, when your body's energy is low and you're tired, sometimes we go for coffee, but your body's also going to tell you like, ooh, feed me, because food is fuel. And that is how I'm going to bring my energy up, right? So most of the times we go for the comfort foods or the high carby foods, and we're like, I have these awful cravings. And sometimes that's because we're not sleeping enough. So keep that in mind. Low energy is your body's natural response to that is like, let's feed you to bring that energy up. And a lot of times we aren't making the best decisions for that because we just want something comfort and high carby. So if you have trouble sleeping or getting to sleep at a logical time, I want you to think about those of you that have children. If you let your kids, your little ones, okay, let's just say under the age of 10, because we know these teenagers can play Xbox until like 3 o'clock in the morning and then sleep till 2 p.m. Anyone else? My kid does that. Okay. But if you let your 5-year-old stay up until 2 a.m. and then you try to wake their asses up for school at 7, how wonderful do you think they are going to be for you? They're going to be cranky little booty holes, okay? They're going to be little brats because they're exhausted. So I would never let my 5-year-old stay up till 2 a.m. and then try to get him up for school at 7, just like like you for work, right? Stay up till, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and then get up for work at 7 or 6 or whatever. And then expect that you're going to have a productive day and also eat well and fuel your body well. You're just not going to have the mental capacity to do those things. So all my friends know, all my clients know, if you text me after 9:30, you're probably not going to get a reply till 6:30 in the morning because my ass is in bed, asleep like a little baby. And I could do a whole presentation for an hour and talk about sleep hygiene and how it has completely changed my life. But I'm just going to plug in a book for you if you really want to geek out on it, because I will do a disservice to the book. It's Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. That has changed my life. I have completely changed my entire bedroom to be a sleep sanctuary, if you will. There is no TV in the room, which you're like, God, you're a sleep Nazi. No, there is some science behind this. I have, the house is set to a certain temperature. I have a whole sleep routine, just like I was when my mom used to give me a little bedtime routine. We're just big kids, y'all. That's just it. We're just big kids. All right, I'm done ranting about that. Okay, thing number 4 we need to stop doing is setting wild expectations when we start a nutrition plan or a diet plan, etc. So one really honest question you have to answer honestly for yourself. A lot of times when starting a program, I have clients that start with us on nutrition, and I have to say this, coaches will tell you what you need to hear and ask you what you need to, answer versus what you want to hear. How long did it take you to get to where you're at? How long did it take you to establish, maybe these not so great foundational habits, etc.? Probably some time, some years maybe, of neglecting just yourself as a priority. We go through different chapters in life. Maybe you're focused on getting a degree. Maybe you're focused on having kids. Maybe you're focused on, working 2 jobs to buy a house, whatever. You have these different chapters. And so sometimes you get put on the back burner, your goals, your fat loss, your health. And so now we're moving it to the front burner and we're like, yeah, I need this result like by next week. And you're like, no, you've been neglecting for so long, it's not going to happen. So I want you to deploy lots of patience. and expect some time, you know, to get it off. And know that the slower you go, the longer your result is going to last. And I have some great slides coming up of a great example of that. So, you know, setting the bar I put a little asterisk here to remind myself that a half a pound to a pound per week is a general rule of thumb, depending on how much you really have to lose. If you have 10 pounds to lose, that shit is hard. Those last 10 pounds are effing hard. For me to get on stage, I'm usually losing between 10 to 15 pounds. And those are the hardest 10 pounds. The last 5 pounds for me to get shred city are the hardest. Okay. So if you have, you know, 20 plus pounds of body fat to lose, this is a good general rule of thumb. All right. A half a pound to 1 pound a week. I have clients that have a little bit more than that to lose, and sometimes they lose a lot faster. And that's only because they are starting to shift their eating habits and they're starting to exercise more and changing a lot of things. So it comes off a little quicker. But don't compare yourself to somebody else who is at a different spot for their fat loss. Progress is not linear. It's not going to be like this. Like, okay, I started here at 150, 148, 146, 140. This is not how it happens. It goes down and up and down, and it spikes, and then it'll dip. And then, you know, you have to keep going through those peaks and valleys. You can't just give up and throw in the towel. I tell clients, you know, a lot of times I have clients who are like, oh, why aren't you cutting my calories and giving me more exercise? And I'm like, because you've had success this week, which means you're eating in a deficit, which means we don't need to keep cutting calories. Don't you want to eat more food? So if we just keep cutting things back, you can't get greedy and just want to chop all these calories off, because it's going to end up in, you know, a ping pong effect where you're going to rebound, or you're just going to plateau and things are just going to go a little bit haywire with your hormones. Okay. I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop trying to weigh what you did in 1985. I hear all the time, oh, I just want to weigh what I did in high school, in college, before I had a baby, when I got married. You're not that girl anymore. You are you now. You're, you know, maybe you're 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, whatever your age is now. Stop trying to be that girl you were in that time. That was a different time in your life. And you were probably unhappy with yourself at that point too, right? So I want to stop. This is just a mindset piece. Is I really hope we stop trying to weigh what we did at XYZ point in time in our life and realize that you're in a different spot in your life and there's different things going on and there's different priorities, and just be gentle with yourself and be fucking patient, right? Okay. You know, I love you guys. That's why I talk to you like this. I do these like I talk to my best girlfriends, because this is how I would tell my best friends. All right. Okay. Thing number 5. Slashing calories too low. When you slash calories too low, it affects ghrelin and leptin, which are your hunger hormones. So if you are like, why are you giving me this many calories? I need less calories than this. I need a 1,200 calorie diet. I need 1,000. No. Have those ever been successful for you? Probably in the short term, but not in the long term. Your body needs time to adjust to the calorie changes. If we cut your calories too low, there's no wiggle room. If I say, okay, Mrs. Jones, here you go. Here's your 1,200 calorie diet. Where are we going to go from there? I'm not going to give you 1,000 calories. If you hire us as coaches, the prep is a whole different beast. And even my prep clients don't ever go to 1,000 calories, but I will absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt never give you a 1,000 calorie diet. If I do, there is a typo and you must email me immediately. Okay. There is no wiggle room for you to go any lower. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. Yes, you'll drop a ton of fat, of weight very quickly, but guess what? It's all water weight. It's not going to be sustainable, and you're probably going to lose a bunch of muscle in the process. So start with a small calorie deficit and go from there. Like I said earlier, don't get greedy. And I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to do this. Just stick around. There's another slide. If you're wanting to go about this on your own, I'm going to set you up for that. All right. So give me 2 seconds. We're going to get there. All right. Where are we at? Okay. So far, so good. Are you guys still with me? Okay. This is one of my favorite slides, is this picture right here. is stop relying on the HECKIN scale, you guys. Okay, this is a client of mine from a little while back, and her name is Kim, and she did a 12-week program, and this is just 5 pounds. Okay, she's a very petite person. She's small. The left to the right, and I hope you could see my little blue circle here, but if you could see this right over her kidney area, her low, love handle area, if you will, and just her booty shape in general, this was 5 pounds only. Now, she, at the beginning of this 12-week program, this was something that we actually ran in the studio at one point. I told everybody, I said, you're not to get on the scale. You're just to do once a week, scale check-ins. We're going to rely on photos, blah, blah, blah. And she kept saying like, oh, it's just 2 pounds, it's 3 pounds. Oh, 1 week I didn't lose anything. And by the end of 12 weeks, she had lost 5 pounds and completely restructured, not completely, but she did a great job at restructuring her body and dropping some body fat. Okay. So a lot of times people say, I want to weigh 130 pounds. And I say, okay, well, 130 pounds, I don't think that, maybe that's a realistic thing, but I think what we're saying is I want to look a certain way, and we're equating that to a number on the scale. I will tell you, I use myself as an example, is 150 pounds on me is going to look very different like now, and having muscle and training and eating, appropriately for body fat loss versus 150-pound Diane when she was eating, cheeseburgers and pizza all the time and fast food and stuff. The way my body looks is very, very different because I have dropped body fat and gained muscle, and not just been like, I need to rely on what the scale looks like. Body composition is key. Focusing on the way that your body looks and the changes in your physique versus the number on the scale is huge. This is especially important if you don't have a ton of weight to lose. So if you are already about 150 pounds or under, it can be very discouraging if you continue to just rely on the scale. And I find that that's why a lot of people quit, is because they're like, the scale's not changing, it's not working, nothing's working. And I'm like, deploy some fucking patience and know that your body is recomping and you're dropping body fat if indeed you are eating, within the calorie guidelines and still training. Okay, a better way to track your progress is obviously photos. Had Kim not taken these photos, she would have been incredibly frustrated because it's very hard for us to see our own results, right? So like, for example, a lot of my ditch clients will see people they haven't seen through quarantine, right? And they're like, oh, I saw this coworker, they haven't seen me through quarantine. And I saw them and they're like, holy shit, what are you doing? And it's because we see ourselves all the time. It's really hard for us to notice the changes. So photos, measurements, taking bust, waist, hips, at least for the just 3 basics, how your clothes fitting. And then also I need you to anchor to other things that are not scale related. How is your energy? How is your strength? If you're training, if you're weight training, how is your sleep? Are you sleeping better? How is your, how is your sex drive? How is your skin? How is your digestion? If you are enjoying those things, keep doing what you're doing and stop relying on the scale to be the only reason why you're changing your, your eating habits. All right. Nextly. All right. Thing number 7. This is going to be a kind of a next level tactic, if you will. This is going to be if you are like, okay, I already do these other things. I need give me some more, like something more actionable to do so I can kind of figure this stuff out. Guessing how much you eat does not work. So I harp on my, my nutrition clients often when I see their food logs, and it's just kind of like guesstimations of their food and eyeballing things. If you really are interested in dropping body fat, you have to get real with how much you're eating right now. So tracking food in an app. I don't care if it's MyFitnessPal. I don't care if it's a food journal. I have old food journals from 100 years ago before there were apps. If you like spreadsheets, however you want to do it, is keeping some kind of food log or food journal while also measuring your portions. You have to understand that you can't eyeball. I've been doing this for forever in a day, and I still will test myself sometimes. I'll say like, okay, I think this is 3 ounces of chicken, and then I'll put it on there. I'm usually pretty close, but there are times when my eyes are bigger than my stomach. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's 3. And it's like 5 because I'm really hungry. So track your portions for a while. Okay. The other trap is snacks and BLTs. BLT is not a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. It is bites, licks, tastes, and samples. All right. All these things, when they are not accounted for, you walk by the M&M bowl at work and you grab a handful, you grab a mint here, you pop this in your mouth off your kid's plate, all these little things. I have in my Fitness Pal, so like on my phone, in my app, I have a little, you could put like meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, so you can log your meals for the day, right? I have snacks, bites, licks, and tastes at the bottom. Now I have to get super neurotic like this when I'm getting for a show. So everything is no lick is left untracked. Okay. So adding that up, and you will be shocked over time. If you're like, I have clients like, well, I don't eat very much. I eat like twice a day. And I'm like, okay. And then I say, I need you to log that stuff. For example, I have one client in the studio. I won't say who she is. She might be on here. And she was really toying with doing ditch and whatnot. And I said, listen, I need you to just track your food for a week, because I guarantee you it's your food. She was like, I think, it's my exercise. You show me my cardio. What show you a fat burner? She's like, no, I eat pretty good. On average, she was eating 3,000 calories a day. She's a tiny person. She's a very tiny little person. She's like 5 foot. And she's like, this was a huge eye opener. Thank you for that tip. All right. Then the other thing is maintenance calories. I'm going to explain maintenance calories to you. I don't want this to feel like a college lecture, but I'm going to give you the nitty gritty. Maintenance calories, this is what you'll find out. If you are just tracking your food for a week without trying to actually diet, and your body weight stays the same, you're eating food to just maintain where you're at right now. Okay. So you need to figure out what your maintenance calories are. If you can figure out what your maintenance calories are, then you go from there and you just cut 10% off of that. So let's say you track for one whole week, okay? And you say, on average, I'm eating 3,500 calories a day. Holy shit, that's quite a bit for a female who's trying to stay, in a nice range of body fat. I'm eating 3,500 calories a day as an average. And you need to go in and I need you to cut 10% off of that and start with that as your diet. Okay, those are going to be your starting diet calories, and just start with that. Track that for a while until it doesn't work. Quit. Don't get greedy and say, ooh, I bet if I cut that in half, I could lose weight much faster. Don't do that, because you're going to end up, feeling deprived, and you're going to hate life. And if you do it slow and methodical, you may not have to cut more after that. So this is a great baseline for those of you that want to go at it on your own and try to diet. All right. And again, if you guys have questions at any point, type them in the chat box. I see there's quite a bit in there. I haven't been popping in there. I don't want to lose train of thought, because, I get squirrely, but I will go in there if you have some questions, or if you're a little shy and you don't want to ask them because you feel like it's a stupid question. No question is a stupid question. Just pop it in and send it directly to me privately. All right. Next thing. Excessive cardio. We have some offenders. All right. Who's like I just want to do more cardio. I have one client that every year she hits me up in January, and I love her dearly. And she's like, Diane, I started running. And I'm like, great. Guess what? For the last 10 years, you've been texting me that, and you're going to stop in about 2 months. All right. I don't hate cardio. People think like, oh, you just hate cardio. You hate cardio. Actually, I actually enjoy cardio. I just hate that people think that cardio is the only answer to lose weight. It is not the only answer. Okay. When it comes to cardio, people are like, what's the best thing? What is the best thing for me to do for cardio? Well, what do you like doing? Well, no. I want to know what's the best. Well, if I told you, it was this, and you absolutely hate that and you're never going to do it, it makes no sense for me to tell you to do that. So if you enjoy Zumba and you feel like you get a great cardiovascular workout for doing a 30-40 minutes of Zumba, then do that. What can you sustain? What are you going to be able to wake up and be like, okay, it's not my favorite thing, but I know I need to do it for heart and health reasons, right? Just for like longevity. Humans were made to be active. We're not made to sit in this thing and be on these screens all day. We are made to walk and, you know, forage for our food and do all these things. But with evolution, we sit a lot, right? So getting up and doing some cardio, I usually have all my clients do something, and it's not excessive. So what can you sustain? Is it, you know, walking your dogs a couple times, you know, a week? Is it getting on the treadmill? If you like running, then run. I have some people that genuinely enjoy running. I have, you know, one of my clients is 59. She loves marathons, and that's like her jam. Do that. I'm not going to tell you to not do something you love. Also, what else can you control? Meaning, don't slap cardio in as a band-aid because you don't want to address the foundations of sleep, water, you know, food, calories, you know, tracking, making sure you're not eating in a surplus. So control all these other things instead of slapping on a bunch more cardio to just undo some of the bad habits, right? Also, too much cardio, it's really hard to keep your muscle on if you are doing a ton of cardio. Now, when you're trying to get peeled, shredded, diced for a show, you are doing a ton of things to make that happen. And sometimes the cardio has to go up at the end as a last measure to do that. But all the other factors have already been checked off the box, right? All the other things, you're in a calorie deficit, you're doing all, you know, all your training, all your supplementation. It's like the next level strategy. But for overall fat loss and like maintaining that, you don't need to be drilling down excessive cardio. It's going to be different for everybody, right? So I get like, how much cardio should I be doing? Well, that's a really hard question to answer because I don't know what your lifestyle is like. Do you sit all day? Do you have an active job? How much are you eating? What is your calories looking like? So there's a lot of factors that go into that, but just start somewhere. Start somewhere with your cardio. If you do nothing, I'm just going to throw a baseline out there for everybody as being just a bottom baseline. If you do nothing at all, you just sit all day, get a freaking Fitbit and move your ass around. All right. Go for walks, go for leisure walks. If you have done nothing, this makes me sad for people when the new year comes and they take up running and they have not ran at all. And they're just like, I just put my shoes on and I'm just going to go for a run. That is terrible for your body, your joints, your shins, all the things, if you have not progressively worked yourself up to that. So stop getting greedy, be patient, and just start with leisure walking. Get in a fast-paced leisure walk. I love leisure walking. It's amazing for your brain. Download some podcasts. I'm going to be doing a podcast soon. And just listen, learn some things. Put your Lamborghinis on and go for a freaking walk, all right? And also, too much cardio is going to make you hungry and ravenous. So the more cardio you just start layering on, the more your hunger cues and your hunger hormones are going to fire, and you're just going to be like, oh, I'm going to eat more. I deserve it because I burned 200 calories. And you're probably going to eat double or triple that in your snacks, in your schnacksidents, right? Okay, how are we doing? How are we feeling so far? Okay, next up, thing number 9. I love this other human right here. This is Jody Schmody. She loves me because I make her do legs all the time. Okay, skipping meals or depriving yourself and fasting. This is a terrible tactic if you think that this is going to get you to a faster, faster way to the scale goal. Now, intermittent fasting is a whole nother topic of which I do see some benefits to for some particular scenarios, but I'm not going to cover that here. I'm just talking genuine, like, oh, I'm just not going to eat. I'm fat. I feel fat today. And you just like beat yourself up and you're like, I'm not going to eat breakfast. And then you get home and then you're like a ravenous beast. And then you eat everything in the pantry. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a little story real quick as an example. My stepmom, love her dearly. She had heart surgery. And she would, her heart doctor has been harping on her and saying, you need to drop weight. You need to drop weight. It's not good for your heart. We had this surgery and it's just, we need to drop some weight. And he gave her kind of an unrealistic target. She's a little person, but he told her she needs to be 120 pounds. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. So I spent a week with my parents in Washington and I love them dearly. And so I thought, I'm going to watch her eating habits and her eating patterns. And she loves eating healthy. And anytime we're together, she's like, "Ooh, can you make me that?" She has a thick Portuguese accent. And so I'm there watching how she eats. And I'm trying to help her understand why she's not dropping body fat. She wakes up, she drinks her coffee full of cream and sugar, regular, and she takes her heart medication and all of her supplements with cookies. Long dramatic pause. With cookies, okay? This is how she's breaking her fast from sleeping all night, is coffee and cookies. This is what she's doing. And she's like, oh no, I'm not gonna eat. I'm trying to lose weight. I said, okay, I'm gonna let you do you, boo-boo. And then I watch her throughout the day, and she's snacking on candy, and she has a sweetbread, but because she's not sitting down and having a meal, she's thinking that I didn't eat anything all day. So she told me when we got to dinner. And I said, Fernanda, I just watched you eat a bunch of Portuguese cookies, and you've been, oh, but that wasn't like a meal. And I said, this is part of the problem. This is part of the problem, is you're snacking on all of these sugary foods. Mind you, she's borderline diabetic, hypertension, high cholesterol, and also a heart patient. And I said, you're sitting down, and now you guys went and got Popeyes, and you're eating 3 biscuits, fried chicken, I don't know what the potato wedges or whatever they come, and the creamed corn and the coleslaw. And this meal right here is probably well over just your calories for the day that you should be eating just all day. Oh, so I had this conversation with her. So I see this, I just watched that repetition and trying to get her to understand that you can't do that. She was, by dinner time, she had snacked on all these sugary things, and her insulin had been like this, just drinking coffee all day. And then she sits down to this ginormous dinner that is high in fat, high in calories, just all this. And then, she's hungry, and she's overeating, the whole plate. So point being is, eating a few solid meals through the day, so your hunger hormones stay stable, you're eating a generous amount of protein, carbs, vegetables, and low dietary fat, is going to be better overall for you, because at nighttime is when most people go a little bit crazy, batshit crazy, stand in front of the fridge or stand in front of the pantry and just starting eating everything under the sun. I don't have a hard and fast rule for meals. You don't have to eat 6 tiny meals all day. That is, again, another tactic for bodybuilding, a whole nother presentation. But most people generally fall into 3 to 4 meals. Feels about right, just depending on your lifestyle and your schedule and how busy you are. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, nextly, another one of my favorite humans. Okay, strict dieting programs. Thing number 10 that I want you to stop doing is these strict diet dogmas. So again, my big goal for everyone listening is to stop doing these things in this box. If you just don't do these, I will be so happy, even if you never come to Venus or use one of my other tactics, but just stop doing these things. Does anybody remember Susan Powter, from in the 80s, I feel like, or maybe the early 90s? She's gorgeous woman, shaved head, or her hair was this long blonde, and she would be like, stop the insanity. If you know who that is, I love you, because you're from my time, but please put that in the box if you know who I'm talking about. Okay. So I have this client, another client of mine, and she will come every January, and she will say, I did keto, and it was great. I loved it. I lost 25 pounds, and then I gained it all back. And I'm like, Michaela, because you can't stick to keto. Okay. Keto is not realistic for most folks. Now, there is some science behind keto for different health, health diseases and diagnosis and things like that. That's, again, another conversation to have. But if you're just wanting to do something because you're so desperate to lose fat, if you do not like eating high fat all day, don't do keto. If you don't like sticking to just a completely grain-free diet or whatever, don't do paleo. If you can't eat chicken and rice and broccoli all day long, do not go and accept some random meal plan from some bro bodybuilder that's going to hand it to you and tell you eat like me so you can look like me. I can't believe I used to do this shit back in the day, by the way. If you hired me 6 years ago, I would have given you my contest diet plan and said here, go eat that, and good luck, and that's not how it works. Most folks can't do that. It's not sustainable. I don't even eat like that in the off season for the most part, not 6 meals for sure. Detoxes, cleanses, teas, all those things. You're usually losing water, pee, poop for those first few pounds. So, and all these diets, by the way, you can gain weight doing at least the top three. All right. So detoxes, cleanses, and teas, that's just like a Band-Aid fix. But you can get fat doing keto. You can gain body weight doing paleo. You can put on pounds doing just like a bodybuilder's diet meal plan. Because if calories are still too high, it doesn't matter how keto you are. If you're eating over what your body needs to drop body fat, you're just pounding back the butter and the bacon and the avocados and all the things, and you're not actually tracking that, you're not going to lose weight. It's just a calorie balance situation. So you're still, no matter what diet you're going to do, have to be in a calorie deficit. So my biggest thing is why do that if that's not how you like to eat? If you don't like to eat like that all day long, and you can't have a cookie or a donut sometimes, or you can't have a piece of birthday cake, or do, all these things, then you're just going to go crazy and it's not going to be sustainable. So doing the things in thing number one, which was making all those swap outs, right? Exercise, get your little bit of cardio in, get your steps in, tracking your food, and being able to enjoy small things in moderation and improving your nutrition is going to be what I have found anecdotally working with clients, a more sustainable approach to losing body fat over time. But again, having to set these foundations down in stone. Okay, those are the 10 things. Talk to me. What is the one thing that you learned today? What did you learn today? Talk to me, tell me, type it in the chat box. Anything? Did I just waste your time for an hour? Let me know if there was one little thing that you're like, okay, yeah, I do this, or I could change this. I could implement that, or I've been guilty of this. Please let me know. What can you change today? What little thing? Let's see. I'm going to see what's in the chat box, and then I'm going to show you a couple more cool slides. Okay. Ooh, look at all these chats in here. Okay. Laura says substitutions, portions, and measuring. Stephanie. Yes, I love you. This is what we need to do, my friend. Counting everything I eat. I always think I eat less than I am. When I wake up from a nap or sleep, I crave sugar. Stop doing that. That's huge, Jill. I know that's huge. Stop eyeballing. Yes, that is a huge pitfall for dieting. Great refresher hour, mostly fired up about sleep hygiene and drinking a whole gallon of water. And Sky, you're a small person, so you probably don't even need a whole gallon, right? Like, what do you weigh? If you're 130 pounds, 120 pounds, like try to get that in ounces. More water, tracking and measuring, the overdoing the cardio thing. Yes, Anna, come to the dark side. Lifting weights is where it's at. And also just as like a bonus, right? Like an 11th thing is, I know a lot of times we are like married to our trackers, right? Like, oh, I burn so much more calories during cardio than I do during weight training. Weight training is not where it's at. Let me tell you something. You will typically burn more calories during cardio. Yes, this is correct, because guess what? Your heart is pumping harder, right? To move all of the blood and all, doing all the things to keep you going for cardio. During training, I rarely break a sweat, right? It's very rare. Ask Coach Glitter. She in here, she know I don't sweat. She be dripping and I'm like, got a hoodie on, I'm cold. All right. Weight training is it's like your 401k, all right? It's like your investment in long-term fat loss, right? It is there for you. It is the foundation you're setting for your body, and you will burn more calories the more muscle that you have on your body. Now, don't think you have to be like a muscle-bound freak like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or even like, the freakishly looking, how I get on stage. The more muscle that you carry, the more food that you can eat, because your body needs to sustain that muscle. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. So when you're just sitting here, or I'm just sitting here flailing my hands or whatever, I naturally am going to burn more calories at rest than my counterpart who may be doing tons and tons of cardio. When you do tons and tons of cardio, great, you burn 300 calories. Once you get off the machine, that afterburn lasts a little bit and then it's gone. When you're done lifting weights, your body is trying to repair and rebuild that muscle, and it's working hard to do all that after a training session and replace replace those energy stores that you tore down in your muscle with all the food that you're eating and all those things. So it's more calorie expensive. So weights are where it's at. All right, weight training is the bomb. Yeah, Jill barely breaks a sweat, and I wish I could pull up her transformation photos right now because they are epic. All right, nextly, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about ditch deprivation. I'm going to show you a couple transformation photos from our coaches. All right, you guys already saw mine. That's boring. Y'all already know that. I'm going to share with you the two other coaches that work with me on ditch deprivation. Right here we have, this is Coach Ish, also known as Alicia. Let me move this out of the way. For those of you that don't know, this is also my DNA. This is my child right here. She is a certified personal trainer, competitor. She's been working with clients on ditch deprivation. She's an overall badass. She is wise beyond her years. You know, she's my old soul. All my children are old souls, but she's definitely the oldest soul. She is also in bed by 9 o'clock every night. She's been training with me for 13 years. I always tell this story that my kids were paid to do their chores. So, and part of their chores included their exercise, and weight training was one of their chores. And if they didn't do it, they didn't get paid. So this kid has been training with me for 13 years. She's a competitive cheerleader, dancer. She was a competitive power lifter for about 3 years. She's done a couple shows as well. She is a macro genius. All right. Watching her doing macros is amazing. She's a flexible dieter as well. She has overcome her own unhealthy eating habits to transform herself as well. I'm actually just realized this. I wish I could show you guys a picture, which I don't have. Eating came a little later for her. The training piece came earlier. She was always the pickiest of all three of my children. But once she started powerlifting and she realized the effect that food had on her body, that changed very, very quickly. But she also suffered from severe sebaceous acne as a child. And I need to dig out those photos. I told her she needs to talk about that more. And a lot of that was due to her eating. None of us in the family had sebaceous acne. So this was not something that was hereditary for her to just naturally have. That's not something I or her father experienced. She ate a ton of dairy. Okay. Cheese, butter, milk, cream cheese, butter, milk, cheese, cream cheese. Alicia was just a walking billboard for the dairy company. Okay. But severe sebaceous acne. The second we started changing her food and her nutrition, everything changed. And that was basically her pivotal like light bulb moment. When she realized like, oh, there is something to this nutrition thing. Right. So anyways, this is one of the coaches on ditch deprivation. I could go on and on. Obviously, I know a lot about her history with dieting and food and nutrition. She's going to be doing some big things next year with competition. She just got a fire about it, and she absolutely loves helping women see that within themselves as well. So this is Coach Ish. And then a lot of you guys already know this next human, who is one of my favorite humans as well. This is Coach Glitter, which she is here too on the call. This was her just a couple weeks, was it 2 weeks ago? I don't even know, time is flying. But she's been working with me on ditch deprivation as well for quite some time. We knew she had a wedding at the end of the year, and we slowly ramped her up to get here. This was her most recent progress photo right here. She is also going to be competing next year in her very first competition. Now, Coach Glitter, I don't want to get the statistics wrong about your personal journey, but I believe you were over 250 pounds at one point. She has lost over 100 pounds. In her journey, she's also certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, queen of joy and sparkle at the studio. Absolute macro wizard. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you need to, because she posts some really good food. I'm boring, y'all. I eat, my digestion isn't like the best. So I eat kind of the same foods because I know how it affects my body. But she loves to play around with different food combinations and show people that like, you don't have to be like super deprived to have success. Obviously, she's done an incredible job. Let's see if she's at Amanda Glitters. So if you want to follow her on Instagram, and then if you want to follow Coach Ish, they both post some great tips and stuff. So between the three of us, you'll see some really great stuff on Instagram, our meals, fit tips, nutrition tips. Alicia is, I believe she's at Ish the Beast. So if you want to follow on IG, go find some new IG fitness friends by all means. And like, if you guys ever have questions about what we're eating, just type in there and we always answer our DMs. We're not like these fitness people that just ignore their DMs. So, oh, Amanda was 270 plus pounds. High five. You did great. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Next up we have, oh, here we go. If you are interested in ditch, I'm just going to put this up here on the screen. Ditch deprivation, just for those of you, real quick, little blurb. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time here, you guys. I'm not super salesy, slimy. It is what it is. Either you want to or you don't. It's a 12-week nutrition program, diet coaching program. I'm opening it up for pre-enrollment right now. We are going to start this on January 25th. If you want to start sooner, that's totally fine. This isn't like a group thing where we have like a kickoff or whatever. Each person is got their own individual program and everything is unique to you personally. So if you want to start after Christmas, you can do that. If you want to get a head start, you're like, I'm jonesing to get this weight off. I'm ready to make some habits change. You want to start January 1st. That's why I did this specifically, because we are going to do a couple more workshops in January as we lead up to it. But technically starts January 25th. If you want to just like get through the holidays, I'm like, say like, I need to wrap my head around the holidays, and then we'll tackle it January 25th. Give you some time to kind of get yourself in order and get prepared for that. This is not good for you if you have some like pivotal changes that are coming up. You're taking on a lot of like, maybe you're taking a new a job position or an extra job, or you're adding some stuff to your plate. Right now might not be the season for you to work on your fat loss goals. Maybe the season right now is for you to work on specific things. So I like to be very upfront. Like, we are going to hold you accountable. You check in with us every 2 weeks with progress photos. We have a software where we give you everything and, you know, customize everything for you. We will tell you, you can decide if you want to do a meal plan. Like, you're like, the macro thing freaks me out. I don't know that I'm ready for that. We can create a meal plan for you based on your intake questionnaire on like the types of foods that you normally eat, right? Please don't put that you eat double quarter pounder with cheeses every day and expect that we're going to make you a meal plan with that, though, caveat. But we will work within, you know, your dietary, you know, preferences to make you something. We do work with, these are some of the questions I get often. We do work with vegetarians, with vegans, and, you know, and we will tailor your macros accordingly based on your unique, you know, makeup. So no two people get the same exact calories or macros, because no two people have the same scenarios. They have different lifestyles, training styles, body weights, heights, ages, all the things. That's not something that like just a generic meal plan will, you know, give you the answer to all the problems. Space is limited. So once, this is not like a false scarcity thing. So once, because we not only do we do this, we also are trainers. So, and I'm a competition coach. I'm actually only taking on 10 people for my personal additional people for my personal coaching. And the other girls also have limited space as well, because, you know, Amanda, she's a workhorse. She works at the studio and has another job. And then my daughter's at the studio full time, and she is a muffin maker, y'all. She makes the best muffins ever. So, so we do definitely have some limited space for the program. I'm going to give you some info on where to sign up. Let's see. Ooh, let me move this out of the way here. So if you are like, yes, I want to do this, doesn't matter when you want to start. It doesn't start until we actually get your programs. So when you sign up, you have a lengthy intake form, and I want you to not just rush through this. Okay. This tells us your unique situation. And this is why we can't take on a ton of people, because it takes a lot of our time to make sure that we get this set up properly for you to be successful. So fill out that intake form. It's going to ask you, you know, give us about 3 days of like what you think you've eaten. You don't have to get super nitty gritty, like a half a cup of oats. Like, I had oatmeal and this and that. Like, get as descriptive as you can. We will want starting photos. Now, this is where people cringe and they're like, oh, I don't want to go. I have to get in a suit. And this is like reality, and it's fucking scary, right? We got you, boo. Your pictures don't go anywhere. They're literally for our eyes only. The ones that I've shared here today, it's because I got their, you know, their permission to do so. But we never share your photos. We don't do any of that unless we get your permission first and foremost. So progress photos. If you take your progress photos, please wear a two-piece, right? We can't see what's changing if we can't see what's changing. So if you're just wearing some big baggy shorts, we're not going to notice any of the changes. And this can be very discouraging for you over time if you don't, if you can't see things changing. So there's that. And then, list all the medications that you take, supplements. If you have any kind of health history that we need to be aware of, make sure you mention that as well. And for those that sign up before Wednesday, the 23rd, so by this Wednesday before Christmas, if you sign up, I'm also going to add in a bonus to my 6-week Fierce AF online program. So what that is a 6-week online, you get access to forever at-home workouts, right? I know a lot of us are without gym right now. There are already some meal plans in there. If you I want to get started and start cleaning things up, there's a ton of different meal plans in there. I created fast food meal plans, right? Like, what do I get when I go to Starbucks? I get that all the time. What do you order when you go to Chipotle? Where do you order when you go to Pizza Hut? I'm a realist. I realize we like to eat out. So I created fast food meal plans for you. Those will be in there. There's recipes. If you're like, I like to bake, I like cookies, I like muffins, I need something as an alternative to this thing that I'm always eating all the time that's really just making me pack on the pounds, I've got a ton of recipes and stuff in there. So that is a $149 program that we usually run. The workouts in there are all things you can do with a set of dumbbells and a chair, or you could do totally body weighted. You don't even have to have dumbbells. You can fill up a couple milk jugs or almond milk jugs of water and use those. And there is a calendar that tells you exactly what to do. Week 1, do this 300 abs video, do this booty video, whatever. It's all done for you. I'm the one that did all the videos, so you get to hear all my terrible dad jokes as well. But that will be thrown in if you sign up before December 23rd. I will give you access to that immediately. And yeah, there you go. And the price is there. You got it there. You know what to do. This is the link right here. It's venusfitnessstudio.com/sign up. And you can read more about it there. There's also a ton of testimonials there if you want to check it out and see some of our other testimonials there as well. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this thing and I want to see your faces. All right. Okay, let's see in the chat box. So if you have, I'm going to stick around for probably another 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions about anything I said today, like, hey, but what about this or what about that? Feel free to plug it in. If not, then have a great Sunday. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll through. Let's see. Just everybody's telling me where they're from. Kind of tracking macros. Why does a scale at the doctor's office always add 10 pounds? I don't know. Because you're wearing shoes, a jacket, maybe your purse, all your clothes, you've eaten for the day, you've maybe drank fluids throughout the day. So all this stuff is adding up. And then when you get on the scale, that's why you weigh 10 pounds more. Generally speaking. I know I was just at the doctor and I was like, that ain't right. That is not right at all. What butter alternatives are better? This is kind of a it depends question. So there's Brummel and Brown is a yogurt based butter. I know, is it Cracker Barrel? I think is making a plant-based butter alternative. I can't believe it's not butter, not because it's healthy, but just because there's no calories. It's I call it my plastic butter in a spray bottle. So I use that. Jill said, yes, I love nut pods. Nut pods are a great alternative to creamer and they're very, very low calorie, 0 sugar. So that's also great. Dina says, I swap milk for nut milk and sugar substitute, less salt using Flavor Gods. Those are great. Let's see. Ghee has less dairy. Yes, it would just be a matter of calories at this point. Shannon says, I like adult beverages. Yes, and those add up super duper fast. Dina says, I'm with Shannon. I know. One drink on the weekends, see, that's moderation to me. Nicole says, I have a Dr. Pepper and a Bacardi on the weekend. Okay, great. If that's just one, not a big deal. I say 1 to 2 drinks a week is great, but it's when it becomes more than that. And also if it becomes a gateway towards drinking and eating more foods, right? Built bars are great. If you have a sweet tooth, I love them. Water Believer, yes. Jill, I definitely need to be schooled in skincare for sure. Let's see. Night owls. Patty. Patty's still here. She's hiding. I'm gonna have to spank you for that one, Miss Patty. Night owls. We need to get you in bed. Sleep by 8:30. I love it. Yvette. Okay, I love it. Sleep is horrible. Oh, we need to work on that sleep, friends. I think I did a great sleep video somewhere. We got to pull that one back up. Okay. Anna, sometimes I do 1 hour on the treadmill because of the steps, 30 minutes fast, fat burner, 30 minutes just walk. Just starting to sit at the desk. Yes. Well, we need to cut your cardio back and just trying to get up a little bit more throughout the day, just increasing your activity, parking further away from work, you know, getting up and moving a little bit more every 20 minutes, get up from your desk. Like, I know we can set these things to buzz us when we're sitting for too long. Getting up and just moving around. Yes, Susan Powder. She was a scam artist. Ooh, I need to read about that. Tracking, just kind of scanning through people, what they learned, substitutions, counting everything. Yes, cravings. Let's see, let me scroll down. Cutting dairy improves skin so much. Yes, it's definitely a thing. I'm telling you. It's definitely a thing. Sky says, do you offer this program all year? We do not. We launch it generally every 3 months. So we typically launch it about 3 to 4 times a year, just depending. It's honestly dependent on what we have going on at the studio, what the coaches have going on. If I'm in prep and I have a lot of competitors, that's why I'm not taking very many, because I have almost 20 competitors for May. So so I won't be taking on myself personally a whole lot. Yes, pics are the best to see progress, Yvette says. What else? Do you do any other programs? Right now, the money is not something I can swing. I own my own business and COVID is killing me. Girl, I get you. I understand that. COVID is doing that to anybody. Honestly, at this point right now, I don't have anything other than, you know, if you're interested in the Fierce AF program, we could totally talk about that. That is $149. That's definitely a lower price point. So if you're like, I can't do ditch, but I want to do something, I can definitely get you the link for Fierce AF. So let me know. You can email me, hit me up on any of the socials, and I will get you set for that. Oh, okay. Laura says, I just signed up for ditch. What happens next? If you just signed up, you just need to start filling out your intake questionnaire. And we will be in touch with you once that is complete to find out when you want to start. So once you get all of that done, your intake information, and you hit submit, we will reach out to you and find out when you want to start. And then the ball is rolling. We just fucking go. We just hit the ground running. All right. What else? I love protein bars throughout the day. I do the lower sugar, so they're okay. Honestly, like worrying about like sugar content, like how much sodium should I be eating, how many sugar grams, those are like next level strategies. I don't even worry about that shit until like you're a competitor. So if you're trying to lose body fat and body composition is important to you, and it's just like general fat loss, calories. Okay. Worry about your calories. Don't be stressing on the sugar. And if you can eat it, that's great. If it tastes like trash and you won't eat it, don't eat the lower sugar ones. All right. I think we covered everything. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate your time, taking your time out today. And I will see you guys somewhere at the studio, on the internet, somewhere like that. Have a great day. Bye.